Well, Steve Jobs was a revolutionary. Some people call him a legend today, and some people call him a groundbreaker. I call him a revolutionary because from the day he started Apple Computer, his philosophy was that we shouldn't rely and commit to the status quo. And one of the great things about Steve Jobs is that he was constantly thinking about changing the world, and that was not just a sales pitch, but it was a firm belief, it was a principled belief that he had. Throughout his career, everyone associated Apple Computer with evolution. He transformed the technology, he transformed the PC, and he was committed to perfection. In Dubai, a lot of entrepreneurs, people in the technology industry, and innovation-minded individuals, young and old, have come out to celebrate the legacy that Steve Jobs has left behind. We've come together at Shelter, which is sort of an innovation incubation center where smart, talented men and women, young and old, come together and brainstorm, get together, they brainstorm about some of their ideas that they have, they collaborate and start businesses. It's a great place for entrepreneurs to participate in here in Dubai, and the momentum is growing. More and more young people, graduates from universities, are moving towards the philosophy of entrepreneurship, which is deeply rooted in the cultures of the Middle East, given that our forefathers here were traders. They started building this part of the world through trade and commerce.
My name is Mary Ames, and I'm the Educational Events Program Manager for Shelter Dubai.
Mary, what's going on today? You're holding an event in honor of Steve Jobs.
Yes.
So why did we do this?
Well, as you know, Steve Jobs passed away the other night of a long battle with pancreatic cancer, and we decided here at Shelter Dubai to host an event in his honor commemorating his life's work.
Hi, my name is Prashant Gulati.
And Prashant, what are we doing here?
Well, we are remembering Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is somebody who's been a visionary in terms, I always say he's the guy who made design important, or design cool, in terms of actually having good technology. Before that, technology used to be something which worked. It was functional. He made it design. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who will touch our lives for years to come.
If there's something inspirational about Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs is a complex guy. He's known for many things. What is most memorable to you?
Well, I think people, when they're talking about him even today, you know, what they miss out is he's probably the biggest business success story if ever there was. You know, look at him, somebody who didn't even have a single degree, started from a garage. He's a typical entrepreneur who tinkered in a garage, built something which was supposedly something which people didn't need, and made that into the world's largest company. And in between got kicked out of his own company, went out, built a few more billion-dollar companies, and then got called back to reinvent his own company.
Now, I know you're a VC, you're an entrepreneur yourself. If there's any message that we could take from the life of Steve Jobs, or if there's any recommendations that you personally can make to entrepreneurs looking at this video, what would that be?
Well, I think every part of his life was something, you know, entrepreneurs can take example from being somebody who decided to build something which people hadn't seen, so stay on the idea. You know, he said very famously, you know, you die, so better do things which you want to do now. Not in that many words, but almost that. So focus on your idea and be very jealous about what you build and guard it. And I think all of these are great things for entrepreneurs.
Today we'll all gather here to commemorate Steve Jobs' outstanding performance in the world of business. What is some of the memories that you have of Steve Jobs and how he's affected your life?
Well, I feel a deeply personal connection to him. I feel as though I've lost a good friend. I'm not usually that type of person who gets wrapped up in somebody that way, but I've been a Mac fan for more than 30 years, and when I first bought a Mac, I was totally intending to buy an IBM and got seduced by the technology and have never looked back. It's just been a fantastic ride. Some of us were in the desert when he was in the desert because things looked pretty grim at Apple at one point, and I wasn't sure if my passion for Apple would pay off in terms of what I had invested. But he's been an incredible leader, and the Mac has always been such a pleasure to use.
There's many lessons that entrepreneurs can take away from Steve Jobs and the invention, reinvention, and transformation of Mac from being a PC to being a box to moving to the iPhone and iPad, etc. If you were to give an advice to a student, an entrepreneur today, based on Steve Jobs' legacy, what would that be?
I think something really important that he did was he had an idea of what he wanted to have wonderful products for people. And I think this idea that he didn't believe in focus groups and trying to measure the temperature and what people wanted, and feeling that he had to offer something to people and help them see what it could offer. And I think that's really important. I think that's why he's been so revolutionary. And just his persistence. He took a lot of knocks, and everybody's giving him great adulation now on the media, but it hasn't always been that way. In fact, he's been the butt of jokes and people really questioning everything about him, from the way he dresses to the way he manages to this and that. And so he's really been his own person, and that's a leader, somebody who just goes ahead and does what he feels is needed and is able to motivate and get the right people behind him.
With the group that's gathered at the shelter with so many young, talented entrepreneurs, we take our hats off to Steve Jobs.